How do you go from starting your first business in your one-bedroom apartment to $5 million in sales? How do you go from scraping by on food stamps as a kid to becoming a successful business owner? And how do you go from adopting the philosophy of always being closing to always being helping? That's the story of Collin Mitchell in a nutshell. He knows a thing or two about overcoming obstacles and persevering through challenges. As the founder and chief revenue officer of Monster Volpip, he leads a team of talented and passionate agents who are interested in building financial stability and sustainability to lead better lives. He's also interested in helping podcasters sell their messages and reach the right people. He joined me this week to provide some insight on his inspiring journey as a person and as a business owner. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. Mitchell says what keeps him grounded in his success is his humble beginnings, and he never forgets where he came from.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, I mean, I grew up raised by a single mom with three other brothers. And, my wife, my mom worked as, a waitress. So we didn't have a lot of money. We grew up on food stamps and government cheese and barely getting by. And my mom had to work to provide for us. So a lot of times, I was kind of left to my own to figure a lot of things out with not a lot of guidance. I didn't have a lot of good male role models. My father wasn't around. He frankly got himself into a lot of trouble and was in and out of prison all the time. And that was just, the life that we had. I didn't really know anything different. We struggled to pay the rent and, food was always on the table, but I knew it wasn't easy. Um, I just, as a young kid, we moved a lot and, having to meet new friends and be in new environments definitely had challenges and sometimes brought me into getting into trouble as a kid. I definitely was not an easy kid. I always tell people, if my kids give me half the trouble that I gave my mom, then I'm in big trouble.
For sure. And just before we move on, I have to say, I love the sign behind you there, buddy. I think that's a good source of motivation there.
Oh yeah, I mean, keeping it simple. I got the matching coffee mug to go with it. So
Well, there's nothing like effective branding for sure. Absolutely.
yeah, so that's kind of my how I grew up as a kid and school. I just didn't do well in school. I didn't do well following instructions. And I pretty much dropped out of high school and barely made it through. Got my credits, and college was not in the cards for me. And I had kind of my first dead end job was really moving furniture when I was young, and I didn't mind that much because I got to stay active and get paid, but it wasn't going to take me very far. And my stepdad had a job in sales, and he was doing well and making a good living, and I kept kind of asking him to help me get an opportunity, help me get in at that company. And I think he kind of waited and wanted to see if I was going to be responsible enough to actually do it. And eventually I got that chance, and that was the first place that I really got a job. And somebody took a chance on me. And, it wasn't that I had some great education. It wasn't that they had some fantastic training program. I had, hard work, determination, and grit to make it and to prove to everybody that I could make something of my life. And that looked like, being the first one in the office every day, the last one to leave, and coming in on Saturdays. One thing that really stuck with me is, because when I got there, it was like, we got a script, we got a little bit of training, we had a phone, we didn't have any fancy technology, and we had to sell a product that people could buy from anybody, you know? And so outworking the competition was the only thing that was going to really separate me and be able to make a career out of it. And I did really well and worked my way up to the top in that company, and things didn't work out. I was promised more of a leadership role, and that didn't work out. So I left and took a VP of sales position at another company, started working that company, met my wife, and she was doing recruitment. She had been doing recruitment for a long time. And I said, hey, I think that we could maybe start our own business. Why don't you come over here and work with me, and let's kind of learn the industry a little bit more. And then we started our first company 8 years ago. Kept our expenses low. We started our first office was in the living room of our 1-bedroom apartment. It was a lot of 12, 14, 16-hour days of just grinding it out, keeping our expenses low. And we bootstrapped that business to almost 5 million in just over 2 years.
And that was leading into my next question. So what would be your message to anyone that's looking for sort of words of affirmation and a positive mind frame when they're looking to start a business and overcoming obstacles that'll come into their way?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are waiting for that perfect plan, that perfect idea, that perfect time, and they're trying to, and what happens is they initially just talk themselves out of actually taking action. And sometimes you got to realize you're not going to do it perfect. There's really no such thing as perfect. There's never going to be the only time that is the right time is right now. And sometimes you just got to get started and figure some things out along the way, because a lot of things about being an entrepreneur or starting a business, whether you have an experience like mine where you didn't go to college or you went to a college, they don't teach a lot of these things. And a lot of it is really just out of experience. So you got to show up, put in the work, do the best you can, and always be looking for feedback from your customers, your prospects, and in the marketplace to improve and become better every day.
And tell me, how did you go from a 1-bedroom apartment to 5 million in sales?
Yeah, it was a lot of hiring the right people. So being very, your first hire is really important, and, sales is what keeps the light on, and sales is what's going to drive growth. And, hiring the right salespeople, experienced salespeople, having a good, compensation plan, having, providing them a great opportunity is really going to help growth. I still actively put in sales activity in all of the businesses that I'm involved in on a regular basis, because sales is what's going to, move the business forward. And, so really being careful and mindful in your hiring, making sure that you're, providing them a good opportunity and having a great compensation plan, and you can get the right people to really just help your business take off.
Now, in your current business, you help people sort of achieve financial freedom and independence. So I'm wondering if you could tell me about your business model and how you think people can achieve financial freedom during the age of COVID-19.
Yeah, so it's an interesting question. Financial freedom is different for everybody. Depends on where you live, what your circumstances are, what your lifestyle is. You as an individual have to be the one to decide what that looks like, right? Everybody has a different idea of success. What success looks like for me today isn't what I, thought it to be, many years ago. Today, success for me is being able to get up, work early, get out early, and spend time with my family. That's success for me. But when we're talking more about financial success, have a goal in mind that's achievable, and then break that into small goals, right? So if you have a 5-year goal, break it down to, what do you need to achieve yearly? What do you need to achieve monthly? What do you need to achieve quarterly? What do you need to achieve weekly? And what do you need to achieve daily to hit that goal? And so, yeah, during COVID, a friend of mine and I started a new business to really transform the way that people do sales and make it affordable for everybody. So we started a company called Salescast, where we help people manage, start, and grow a podcast and transform the way that they do sales for their business through podcasting.
Fantastic. And can you tell me just more in general, if you have principles to achieving financial freedom that you could share with the audience?
Yeah. So, I mean, you really got to, the principles behind financial freedom is, there's one simple thing, right? Spend less than you make, right? So a
Easier
lot of
said
people,
than done, right?
yeah, a lot of people get caught in this trap of spending more than they're making. And I've made this mistake too, especially when you're somebody who comes from nothing and you get a little bit of a taste of success, you can easily overextend yourself. So being really mindful of your numbers and your profitability when you're scaling so that you're not overextending yourself, I think is one of the most important things to financial freedom. Because, I personally have experienced being a little impatient and really wanting to just add fuel to the fire and kind of maybe take a shortcut in business. And sometimes that's not the best, plan. And that's basically, something like, you got to really nail down your messaging. You got to really nail down your niche. You got to really nail down your target, your service, your offer before you start spending money on ads or overextending, hiring more people, at a faster pace than you maybe should. So there's some really key decisions when, scaling a business, becoming an entrepreneur, and, making good financial decisions so that you don't put yourself in a hole.
And I'm just curious to know, based off your personal story, what now brings you the most satisfaction or success as a personal business owner when you're able to positively impact people?
Yeah, I would say, the newest company that I've started with my friend Chris, Salescast, where we help people start, manage, and grow a podcast. We really have a big mission. And not only we're trying to help people transform the way that sales is done by building better relationships with the right people, but we're really, our part of our mission is helping people come out of isolation and be more comfortable with telling their story and help others tell their story. And specifically people that have a story that's that's underrepresented.
Very cool. You piqued my interest, so I'm just going to follow up with a question about inclusion and including everyone since you're talking about sales cast. As you know from reading my personal story, I have what's called spastic quadriplegia cerebral palsy. So it just simply means that I don't have enough oxygen in my legs to walk normally. So I'm just wondering if you could sort of provide a message to business owners about the importance of hiring people with disabilities.
Yeah, I think that, people, should be open to hiring any type of person, handicap, not color, location, doesn't matter. We're really big on, we open up our borders. So, we hire remote people all over. And if they can get the job done, providing a equal opportunity for everyone is more important than ever.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if we can end the interview by sort of asking you some parenting and personal questions about raising some kids. I know that you have 3 young kids of your own, and you're starting to send them back to school. So I'm wondering if you can tell me, as a parent, how you're helping your kids navigate the whole school situation, working from home, and the virus in general.
Yeah, my kids are still fairly young. So, they don't know a lot of the big details about the current situation. They know that people are getting sick. They know that, we have to wear masks when we go out now. They know that we pretty much keep, 6 feet distance, and they're sad that they can't see their friends. And my son is, missing out on his kindergarten experience by, having to do virtual, distance learning now. But the thing is this thing is temporary. Yes, it sucks. Nobody likes it. Nobody was expecting this. Even when this all started, I don't think anybody thought that it would last this long. But I have a mindfulness practice, and I try to, teach my kids that as well. And feelings are real, but this thing is temporary. It'll pass, and we have to be mindful of that and stay positive and be grateful for what we have. Because there's a lot of people that have it a lot worse than we do, or others. And that when this thing holds, there was a lot of positives that came out of this thing. We got to spend a lot more quality time with the kids in the family. We got to, my wife got really involved in teaching them over the summer. um, and we really got to slow down, because, I'm a part of 4 different businesses. We live in Los Angeles. It's a pretty fast paced life for the most part. And we always got something going on the weekend and things like that. So we really got to slow down and just be very present, be very mindful, and spend more times with the kids. And I think they really appreciated that.
And tell me, what do you wish for your legacy to be in sort of guiding your kids in developing the principles that they hold dear to them once they get older?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the simplest thing is, I try to teach my kids to be kind, to teach it to treat everybody with respect. And those are some of the key things. And I also want to teach my kids, good hard work and grit and resilience, and things like that. And always, being hungry to learn more, to try new things, to be open-minded. So those are some of the key things that I try to instill in them from early on, and hope to continue to foster those as they get older.
And my final question for you is, outside of the office, what brings you the most happiness once you're not running your business? You talked extensively about your family today, so I guess that would be where you would start to answer that question, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, spending time with my family is huge. With 3 young kids, my time with my wife, just the two of us, is limited. So I value that a lot. We get to exercise in the morning together. Sometimes on the weekends, we might go for a hike or do something outdoors. So, those small things and brief moments are extremely valuable. And, right now it's just business and family, and that, takes up a lot of time. And that's, enough. A simple life is pretty much okay with me.
There's nothing wrong with simplicity, absolutely. Hey, Colin, I want to take a few seconds to thank you for providing some insight and perspective on sales, business, and your personal life this morning. So great to see you, and thanks so much for being here.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it, Kevin.